This is Andrea, and she is a hairless. What is her official breed?
She's a Peruvian Inca Orchid.
There we go. Peruvian Inca Orchid.
Yes.
There we go. And so she's a sweetheart. She's been with her guardian before. The guardian had another dog. Then she came into the pack. Then the other dog passed away, and then this dog came into the pack. This is Luna, who's in our puppy classes. In this video, I should have said at the beginning, I'm going to go over basically some tips to help you if you have an older and a younger dog that are not getting along. And so we started out we're just talking about it. You're going to have to hang out with me for a little bit. And your nails, just an FYI, her nails are getting too long, and they can actually splinter, and sometimes you have to amputate the nail. The longer they get, the more fragile they get, and it's very common for them to do that. Okay, so yes, you're going to get all your jumpy up. Yes, I saw that tongue lick. We're going to get you off my lap here in a sec. So basically, there's a number of structural things I think that can help with this situation. So first of all, she's allowed on the furniture where Luna is not. And I think that is creating a little bit of a jealousy situation and there's also a little child that sometimes she is nipping at. Now, fortunately, she only has one tooth, and so she can't do a lot of damage, but we don't like her to be stressed out in beginning because that's not a comfortable situation for her. So a lot of times these things are happening when Andrea is in possession of or next to her guardian when she's in an elevated position. The family's father, if she is with her the wife and he approaches, she growls. She'll try to nip at him, especially if she's asleep. Also does the same thing when he comes in the bedroom at night because she gets to hang out in the bed. And so that creates potential for fights and practice for Andrea doing the things that we don't want her to do. So even though she can't do a lot of damage with her, with only having one tooth, we want to kind of curb the behavior to begin with. So I asked about what rules the dogs have, and really she doesn't really have any rules. She's got to sit and wait for permission before she gets to eat her food, and sit before we exit. She has to exit the kennel, but that's about it. Dogs go through life probing to determine where the boundaries, the limits are. Children go through life probing to see what they can get away with. Dogs are expecting us to say that's the line or the limit. They're going to circle back around and test again to see, are we being consistent? And if that happens enough times in a row, the dog's like, okay, I'm going to cross that off my list. I'm never going to try to go on the carpet. Luna! Luna! Puppy, puppy, puppy!
I hope she doesn't pee.
The guardian's going to go check and see where she's at. All right, so a couple of things we talked about. One of the first things is I would recommend not allowing her on the furniture because Luna's not allowed on the furniture and she is. And that can create a rivalry situation. Luna, oh, there you go. Oh, you can take her out. Sorry, I was distracted. So that creates a rivalry situation and also a guarding situation. So I would suggest, first of all, that she shouldn't be allowed in the furniture for at least 66 days, which is how long it takes to form a behavior pattern. But that should be the absolute bare minimum. The other part of the sentence is, or as long as the problem's still going on. So, and every time you let her break a rule, it is going to reset your clock, and it's frustrating or confusing to the dog. A lot of times we think breaking the rules is a reward, but it really stresses the dogs out because it confuses them and leads to frustration. So you can always go down to her level and make a pillow for her on the floor, and that's actually something I'd like the guardian to do so the dogs can practice being with her where nobody has the status of being on the furniture. We're all on the floor. Now, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take like a 4-foot leash, run it around the leg of a couch, and then run the end of the leash through the handle that you put your hand through, and then attach the leash. We have kind of an L-shaped couch here behind the camera, and so we can actually attach Luna there. They can sit kind of in the corner, and then Andrea can be over here on the other side. So the dogs can be kind of one dog here, one dog here. I'm just realizing I have my fly undone. But basically that way the dogs can practice being together, but not necessarily having access to each other. We really want to build in positive associations when you have multiple dogs being together. So rule number 1, no furniture. Rule number 2, or not rule, but I would set up a situation where there's places where she can go that Luna can't go. Luna's a lot bigger. She's growing. She's a puppy. She's almost doubled in size in the last week. So we have baby gates in the house because Luna does have accidents and she also has some accidents. And so what we can do is set up the baby gate with the little partition for a cat. So it'll be just small enough for her to sneak through, but Luna won't be able to. So that way Luna has a couple, or Andrea has a couple places that she can go to that Luna can't get to. And so instead of nipping at her, she has a bully stick. After a while, she realizes if I just go into my area of the house, I can enjoy this bully stick and she can't come and hassle me. Now, the other thing is the guardian has a tendency to, when they do get in a fight, to pick her up. Now, she's doing it to stop because she's a lot smaller, obviously, and now that Luna's actually, only within the last week, Luna started returning the favor when she acts aggressive, and that's not going to turn out very well for you. So what we want to do instead is create a situation where they're not doing that. Eliminating the furniture will go a long ways towards doing that, but also creating situations where they can have positive experiences together. Right now, she's walked on a retractable leash, so she's way out in front, and Luna's walks behind her and next to it. Well, Luna's job as a puppy is to kind of throw her elbows and see what she can get away with. So I would recommend that we start walking the dogs next to each other, having a short leash, one dog on this side, one dog on this side. If there is a fight, we want to, as soon as the dogs are calmed down, we want to take them for a walk together. We want to build in a positive association for the very last thing they remember about that encounter. So it doesn't have to be a long walk. You walk literally 2 houses up and 2 houses back with the dogs next to you in a heel position, neither dog being allowed to be in front. Now, the walks that they go on right now, Luna doesn't like walking, so she has a tendency to shut down. And she, I guess, likes walking.
Oh, she loves walking.
She's all over the place. And so what I would do for Luna, we talked about this, this is really more of a video for her, but for Luna, what I would do is go out before your walk. First of all, I'd shorten the walk up. Instead of going for a 20-minute walk, maybe vary it up. Try 10 minutes, then try 12 minutes, then try 14 minutes, different walks. And so after a while, you kind of figure out what was the walk that was most productive and enjoyable for everybody involved. Now for Luna, what you might want to do is just go out on the walk ahead of her and just leave little we call it jackpot, little piles of treats along the route that you're going to take. And so this way she goes out and she's like, pile of treats. And then you let her eat them up, and then we go to the next pile. And I would do that probably with her separately to get her used to going on a regular walk. At first, what I would do is I would have one like maybe at the end of the driveway, and then where a little bit before where she first starts saying, "I'm not walking anymore."
Her first place is at the end of the driveway.
Perfect. So right maybe a foot or 2 before the foot of the driveway, have that pile of treats. And then, go, maybe 12 paces. And then, each pile of treats, maybe 3 or 4 treats, or a little bit of that crack that we have in class. And after a while, the dog starts looking for those treats in the next one that's coming up. So you have to kind of figure out strategically where you want to place them, but after a while, you want to move it a little bit further. Instead of being right before the end of the driveway, after she goes out, maybe had 2 walks in a row, and Luna gets the ones right near the end of the driveway, now it is actually at the end of the driveway. Maybe then it's a step or 2 beyond that. So the idea is to keep on moving those, and not all is in the same place, but after a while, Luna's like, I like walks because there's good, delicious stuff. We talked about feeding the dogs people food. Maybe that would be a great way for them to discover it, is chop up the fat from steaks, put it in the microwave, and the next day on the walk, go out and put some of that stuff down. So like, wow, there's some delicious stuff out here. She already likes the walks. We want to make sure it's the same way for her. Now, she's probably going to protest a little bit, yawn. Once we start not allowing her to walk in front. But that's something that, like I said, would be helpful for her because I think it's related to her nipping at the child, the husband, guests, the other dog. I think it's all related to her thinking that she's in charge because the guardian doesn't enforce rules, so she doesn't see her acting like a leader. Now, you got a good looking chin there. So now, a lot of times when she is sent away is after a fight. So then what happens is the last thing she remembers about it is, wow, that other dog came nearby, I corrected, and then I got punished. And so I really don't like Luna because I'm always getting punished when Luna's around. So that's why we want to basically, before the first growl, remember we don't want to correct or disagree with the growl, but we can apply a consequence. So if she's on your lap and she growls, she has to immediately get down. Don't throw her on the ground, obviously, and don't. A lot of times, what I like to do is just stand up, and that eliminates the lap, and the dog just jumps down on its own. However, just make sure she's not jumping towards Luna. I don't think that would start a fight, but there's potential for it, so we want to make sure that's not the case. Also, she only knows 5 commands, and a couple of them are quasi commands. And so your average dog, when dogs have an average of 10 or more commands that they know really well, they seem to achieve a certain level of confidence. And she, being a small dog and a hairless dog, they shiver a lot sometimes because they're cold. But smaller dogs are lower in the food chain, so they're very twitchy to begin with. And so if we don't have a lot of skills, it's harder for them to have much self-esteem and confidence. So one of the things we like to do when we have dogs that are kind of a little bit twitchy or nervous is just build up their confidence by teaching them some new tricks or commands. So the stuff that we've gone over in puppy classes, a lot of these things you can go over with her as well. I don't know if you have, but like teaching her to do the rotate, or excuse me, the hurricane, teaching her to do hand targeting, teaching her the focus exercise. All these things that you have the lessons from class that you should know how to do from Luna would be really easy for her to do. The focus is a great one to do because it teaches the dog to pay attention to you as opposed to other things. And it can actually stop the production of cortisol. We might do a little exercise, a focus attention game, where you just teach the dog to look into the face. She doesn't seem to be super low on confidence, but I think just building up some more skills will help broaden her confidence a little bit and also help her see her humans acting like a leader as opposed to thinking that the humans are in charge of her. Because right now she goes and nods at paws at her guardian, and her guardian pets her. So that tells her, yes, I'm in charge of this human, because when I tell the human what to do, she does it. So for that, I would recommend you start petting with a purpose and using passive, really just petting with a purpose. So if she wants to get on your lap or something, she should have to do something to earn that privilege rather than just being able to jump up on your lap. So she has to sit or lay down or do something first, and then you pet her or give her the attention. She's not going to have your lap for a couple months. But if we pet her every time she demands attention, that can create a spoiled dog, just the way we can create a spoiled child. And so also recognizing desired behaviors through that passive training, which we also talk about in puppy class. So every time that she comes to you, pet her and say, come. Every time she brings you a toy, say the name of the toy. Every time she goes to her dog bed, say the name of her dog bed, sits, lays down, etc. The more that we can come up with fun things or not fun, but things that she can do to earn that privilege of attention, that boosts her self-esteem because she's earning it. She's also seeing her human acting like a leader, and it helps her practice sitting and laying down and the rest of those things. So that's the other benefit of teaching your dog to do different tricks and commands is the dog sees you acting like a leader. And again, the more tricks and commands we have, the more ways we have to redirect the dog's attention. Also, the dog gets a boost of self-esteem and some confidence from that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we talked about earlier that I should refresh on this? All right. Well, I was going to say Andrea or Andrea, but this is Andrea, right? That's how you say it?
So I call it Andrea.
Andrea. So I'll say it, and I'll even throw my roll of the tongue in there. Andrea? Isn't she a good-looking girl? Well, this is Andrea, and these are some tips you can use if you have an older dog who's not a big fan of the younger dog because they might be a little bit spoiled.